I don't see it being easy for whatever reason, but for sure, do not be afraid to fail. Be stubborn, be ignorant to failure. You have to keep driving and pushing forward, because at the end of the day, you're never gonna know what's on the other side if you're always too scared to even peek through.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Stay Shining, Stay Grinding podcast. I am your co-host, Carlos Castro, here with my co-host,
Jose Gallegos. What's going on, guys?
And this is Stay Shining, Stay Grinding podcast. For those who don't know and are just listening to this for the first time, this podcast is about self-improvement, business, what else? What topics?
Failures, balance, life, everything.
Just anything to do with anything. If you're a entrepreneur, or if you're a creative, or if you're a business owner, if you're in the industries that either one of us is in. Jose's in the landscaping construction industry. I am more in the creative field, marketing field, social media field, and we've just both decided that we should start this podcast and try to give information to people and try to give feedback to people and just be a part of
giving back.
Be a part of giving back and just be a part of society and
Yep.
and telling our stories of what we've gone through and what we've done. And yeah, so if you haven't listened to any of these episodes, if you haven't, we suggest to start from episode 1 and then get to here. So also including that, we have been off for about a year and a quarter. About a year.
So for those that do listen, welcome back.
Yeah, and then for those who have been listening to it, welcome back. We kind of just ended the podcast just abruptly. We didn't. Your watch is still going off.
Life got in the way.
Yeah, we just ended abruptly, and it wasn't even life, to be honest. It was. There was some things that happened, and some things that we are going to touch on while we're on here, because part of the podcast, I think, was that we wanted to be upfront with people and honest, and part of that is being honest with what's happening. We're not going to sit here and lie to people about being millionaires, because we're not. There's some people who do. There's some people on there who claim to be millionaires, but they're not. And we're still in as Gary Vee says, we're still in the foxhole. Like, we're literally still in the trenches. We're still building. Jose has a company, a pretty big company that makes, how much in revenue a year? Where are you at right now?
A little bit, but
he makes about $4 million in revenue a year. But again, he's not in a position where he can say, hey, I have this X, Y, and Z, which in some cases, some people do. Some people, their company makes this much money and automatically they give themselves the title that because my company makes this much, therefore I'm valued at this much. It's the truth. But again, that's not the situation. When your company is making an X amount of dollars a year in revenue, doesn't mean that that's how much money you're making. It's how much the company is making, that is paying for the employees, that is paying for the material, that is paying for the bills, insurances, and all that jazz. So yeah. Anyways, and then me on the other hand, I have a social media, marketing, creative business, and it took me a while to kind of find a specific title for what I do. And I think early on when we started this podcast, I was also still in the position of like, what exactly do I do? And then I ended up finding like, oh, I'm in the social media realm and I'm a creative. So part of my job and what I do is I try to help like companies like Jose's come to life. Some of you may be aware of a video that we posted recently that went pretty viral. And hold on, we're gonna stop right now. Come on, bro.
I'm turning this shit off because it keeps fucking beeping.
I gotta have you here the whole time, man.
I'm here.
Okay.
I just this beeping noise, you know what I mean? Guys, interruptions, you know what I'm saying? I gotta turn off,
Part of the deal with the podcast was that we're not going to have any phones previously. And again, being honest again, previously, this is why we have one camera right now. And it's we don't have one camera mainly because of the fact that we don't want to just be pushing buttons and that. And yes, I have the audio mixer, but it's better to have clear audio than, precise video. But when we do get to a point where we can, have the video switching and stuff, we'll do that. But for now, we're just going to keep it as raw as possible. But
So any sponsors that want to
part of the thing was that we're not going to have any phones because previously it was a distraction. There was cases where, I was talking and then I would look at Jose and he's like,
it's hard when you're the man, like you're.
Oh, now you're the man, bro. Okay, now he's the man. So let's touch base on the fact let's kind of touch base a little bit on what happened and what caused for the podcast to pause. And we both have sides. I think you have yours and I have mine, and we can just touch a little bit of base on that just so people can know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last one? October 2023?
Yeah, it's October 2023. So we'll put it right here just so people are aware of when that last episode was up. And yeah, I mean,
so it's been over a year. So like we said, to those who listen and has been waiting, welcome back. We're excited to be back. I know we've been discussing it for a while, and business was crazy. 2023, and then 2024, we went from everything from, losing workers, from getting audited, from multiple audits to, it's just been a complete roller coaster. And we're going to talk a lot about that. So, for those of you guys early on, getting into business and growing and wanting to scale, I went through it. I'm going to teach you guys how to not go through that. But, yeah, just a whole wave of just figuring it out. I mean, the millions of dollars in revenue is one thing. Having a grasp and control and procedures to protect you is another thing. And just to be clear, it has nothing to do with workers. I mean, my workers have been phenomenal. I have never had problems with workers. It's just everything else legally that, California needs, So I don't know. It was just a big roller coaster.
Things that they caught on to.
Yeah, things that they caught on to.
Yeah.
And, so it's not. Honestly, I'm not embarrassed to say it. Like we're paying guys under the table. We're paying guys cash. We're paying guys.
You were.
Yeah. So it's things that we grow up in. Like I grew up with my dad being a gardener, right? Mm-hmm. And gardeners get paid cash. And I have never worked. Just to make it clear, I've never worked in a warehouse for a different construction company, lawn care company. I've never had a job other than working for my dad.
You've never had to fill a W-2 form?
I've never had to. No.
That's crazy.
So, we're a product of our environment. So I grew up thinking that was the right way to do it. And it works to a certain extent. But when you're moving millions of dollars, not that I have it, but moving millions of dollars, the IRS gets a little particular, and then you become a target. And then, however it worked out, we got into some trouble, and we're trying to get out of that trouble. Still in the process of getting out of the trouble, right? Because it's a long journey, a lot of headaches, a lot of stress, anxiety. I still don't know where I'm going to be because, we're still going through it. But, it's just new. It was new to me, new to us, new to my company, new to my team. I'm grateful that the guys were on board to make all the changes. We got everyone, situated. Still working with the team. Got a whole new team of, what is that? CPAs, or like the tax people. I was just, misinformed. I was working with the wrong team, wrong people. And maybe that's because, there's stages to everything, guys. And, I was working with someone that was probably experienced with such a small stage, and like the numbers that we were moving, like maybe that person wasn't as experienced. And all that trickled down, and, it's one thing to say like, oh, like nothing's going to happen, like no pasa nada. Like that comes in our culture and our blood. And like,
they even have a song now.
Yeah. Like, but trust me, guys, like, if you do want to get big, if you do want to grow, if you do want to scale, if you do want to have and reach big numbers, do things right. Build a habit early on to do things right and correct. So you could build a habit to pay those fees, pay those taxes, pay those works comp, pay those insurance, everything. Like we were set up, but we didn't have everybody on it, if you know what I'm saying. But um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just
let's take some steps back. Since
when you moved.
this is the topic that we're in right now. We'll talk about me after. Since we're on this topic, so part of that experience was, it wasn't primarily the fact that you were working with the wrong people, and it wasn't also because of the way you were brought up, but it was a little bit more on yourself too. I think part of being a business owner is that you're so involved, and you're not so involved, but you're so, you're constantly rolling, you're constantly working, and sometimes it's hard to look up and take a look at what you have and where you're at, because you're constantly trying to make the next,
Yeah.
trying to get the next check, trying to get the next project, and in some cases, you lost focus of what was happening in that area, in that department. And then, there was sometimes occasions when I think I've suggested that to you, where it was like, hey, maybe you guys should consider working with someone else. And you'd be like, nah, I think we trust her. We trust the person that we're with, and we're just gonna roll with the punches.
And that goes back to not wanting to get uncomfortable, because we're comfortable.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with that right now.
I was comfortable with this person.
Yeah.
Even though there was complaints, and I almost was foreseeing trouble. I knew I was taking steps that were incorrect, but the fact that she said you'll be all right, or take it back, the person, right?
It's fine. Gender. It's a her. It's a woman. Yeah.
The fact that the person said, "Hey, it's okay. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." So when you're working with somebody and you're comfortable with somebody, you trust them. Yeah. It's like nowadays, there's so much information out there. Everybody is a guru. Everybody knows everything.
Yeah, just people like how everyone's a millionaire now.
Yeah, like everybody charges for consulting and advice.
Yeah.
If you trust and you grow a bond and you trust that person, you're gonna think that whatever they're telling you is correct.
Yeah.
Until, like I always says, trial and error, because I'm just a byproduct of that. You fail, you start to question, whoa, like I trusted that person, or the guidance that person gave me, I thought that was correct. So, and it's part of the game, it's part of the journey. We're gonna have to fall on our face multiple times, but just get back up, be consistent, be persistent, and you just keep trying it a different way. And we you recommended us somebody that they're helping us a lot, and I think the big shift was working with, just going back to our culture and how we're brought up,
trusting someone,
working
new.
With a Hispanic person that always wants to do the bullshit way,
Well, no, let's not go there. We just true. Say no. Let's say you were working with someone who had a particular way of working.
No, but we're being honest, because
but they had a particular way of working, and then I think part of the shift that was, again, going back to the comfortable thing, was that well, I don't really want to work with someone I don't know, someone of someone of a different of a different race. I don't want to
go work with somebody else. We feel like we're gonna get judged.
Yeah, not even just that. Just like, I think from my perspective, it's like, oh, what are they gonna? Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, because you feel like you're gonna get judged, but at the same time, look how much of the rug was pulled out of you guys because of the way you were working.
Day and night working with these people, and again, the welcoming, the feeling of comfort was there. It was the same thing. They welcomed us very good. They made us feel so comfortable. Hey, you're not the only guy that goes through this. You're not the only company that goes through this. We help a lot of people. It's not right, but it's normal. It happens, but we're gonna help you get out of this hole. And that's when we started to say, "Whoa, it's not that bad." The feeling of discomfort was a little bit,
yeah.
No, when it first happened, dude, I was losing my shit. I was like, dude, I'm gonna.
I wish we could have, honestly, what would have been cool is if we would have recorded the process.
Yeah.
From when you first found out what happened, and we had conversations, and this actually happened even before we stopped the podcast. Now that I think about it, this happened around the summertime, right? Or closer to the beginning of the summer. We put the podcast on hold primarily because
it was late 23.
It was late 23? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then
no, actually this happened after this happened early spring 24.
Closer to the mic.
This happened early spring 24.
Early spring 24?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then it kind of coincide. I mean, our last episode was October, and I think we recorded like 2 or 3 episodes.
We're gonna
After
start
that,
early in the year, and then
yeah,
everything went to shit.
yeah. Well, that
On my
happened
my
on your
side.
end. Yeah, on your end that happened, and then I had some stuff on my end that happened as well. Not nothing legal, but
Well,
it just
you're a
things that
parent,
happen.
right?
Hold on, I don't want to jump yet. Hold
Yeah.
on, let's not jump. That's not we got to keep the
We're
attention on you.
introducing what happened.
Yeah, no, we got to keep the attention on you. Don't want to stray away from that yet.
Mhm.
I want to tell you that I'm glad and I'm proud that you guys made this decision to like take a different direction, and being honest is a big deal. Like right now, that's awesome that you're literally just from the start you're like, this is what happened. That's a huge like thing, which a lot of people won't talk about that. Like they'll
Yeah.
pretend that there is no problems happening and sit here and pretend that that is the truth. And
Well,
I
you know me. I don't like to fake the funk. Like it is what it is. We're in the trenches. We're in the trenches. We're learning. We're growing. We're developing. I don't feel like I need to hide anything or be someone I'm not. I rather, share my experiences and my downfalls and my situations. I'm not embarrassed about it. I mean, I'm not the only human being in the world that's been going through this. But at least if I have someone that admires what I'm doing, that's a year in, that's 2 years in, they can actually avoid those mistakes
yeah
by listening to these conversations today and says, "Hey, man, I'm glad you were open about this because how do I not do that?"
yeah
And I'm telling you guys right now,
take suggestions.
yeah, I'm just saying, if because shit will happen.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing culturally that we're taught. Like, so part of also from because of our our upbringings. We're both first generation business owners. We don't come from, we come from working class families. We
Mhm.
don't, we didn't have money that was inherited to us to start what we're starting now. We kind of just started from scratch. Unlike Jose, I did fill out a W-2 for a couple of years, and that's part of the existence of this podcast, is that we wanted to like clarify that like this is stuff that happens and this is stuff that we go through, and we wanted you guys as the listeners to be a part of this journey with us. Like
Mhm.
the whole thing was that we want you guys to be a part of this journey. And yeah, we did mess up. We did stop for a whole year, which could have been very, very, very enlightening for people who were constantly listening. And I know you got a lot of people reach out to you. Hey, when are you guys going to start the
Yeah.
podcast? When are you guys going to get it back going? And it was more of a factor of like, he was going what he was going through. And then I went through what I went through, where in my case, I ended up moving out to Orange County because of my wife. My wife was getting into a PhD program. She was commuting from where we were living in the past, in the Inland Empire, all the way to San Diego. And we decided to make the process easier for her by going to the Orange County, and for her to take the train to San Diego to make the process easier for her. And in the process of that, we ended up having a child. Now that I think
Congrats.
about it, I did
Yeah.
not have. We have our two teenage boys, but now we have a baby, like a fresh baby. Now he's about 10 months now, but um, yeah, that's crazy. I didn't have a kid actually
That's
when
that
we
was a big
started this
shift. Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, I didn't have the kid, and then now I have a kid. So that came into play, and then on top of that, I ended up parting ways with a lot of clients that I had. I think I started the year. No, I ended the year with about like 5 to 6 clients, and then I started the year with like 1 or 2 clients.
Yeah.
And part of that experience for me was that I grew too fast. I took on too much. Um, I didn't have enough knowledge of
Yeah.
what it would take to handle so many people, and I fucked
And
up.
without delegating, because you do it all yourself.
I was doing everything myself.
Yeah.
I did hire some people to work with me. That didn't work out. It was a mess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what I had to do is I had to start from scratch again. I literally had to start from scratch. I had to, you know, have some humility and be like, okay, I fucked up. And everybody that I worked with, we parted ways. We parted ways peacefully. It wasn't like, you know, you shit the bag, fuck you. I'm not like, fuck you, No,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool
Yeah.
with me. Like, I honestly, I think where I'm at and where you're at, it's not where we should be. And that's fine. That didn't like it financially, it was a big deal. But I managed to figure out some tactics and some stuff to get back on board, and which where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
But again, it was a learning process. And I think part of business is like anybody else being in the situation where I was with 6 consistent clients. And when I say 6 clients, I mean, we're on retainers, on a monthly retainer with these clients. So I'm getting paid by these people every single week or monthly or by whatever, but I'm constantly being paid for them. It's
Mm-hmm.
not freelance work. I'm constantly being paid by these individuals. So I had about 6 of these clients. To be honest, I was making, what was I? I was making over 10 grand a month just from the clients that I was with, which was a lot of money. But then again, at the same time, it was like, I was doing everything myself, which was, I think, the biggest effect in that. And I needed to scale. But part of the problem with the scaling was that I'm a perfectionist. So then I started to work with other people who didn't have the capacity in which I had to perform.
Exactly.
And I feel like that affected the overall purpose of bringing the quality that I was trying to bring. Because I'm not about quantity, I'm more about quality. I want to be able to provide people quality work and give them that this is your baby. Like your business is your baby, and I want to treat it as if it's also my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I did is I didn't treat it that way for some other businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and I did kind of put it in that factor of like, well, if this business pays me more, so I'll put more attention on this business and blah blah blah. But anyways, I digress. So many of those things happen. Like I said, we had a baby, which also was a blessing in disguise in the whole year. I honestly took the last year as a break, and I took it as a learning experience.
We can see that, Carlos.
Yeah.
Just like, take a break.
I took it as a break, and I took it as a learning experience, and I took it as an opportunity to be a part of my child's life on those early stages that a lot of fathers are not a part of because they got to go out to work, and I was still working, I was still we're still making money, not what I was making previously, but I was still making money, and I was still being able to be a part of those early years, which
is nice because
goes by fast.
A year went by fast. He's about to be a year old, and those memories, those times. You when do you ever get that back?
Yeah, that's 100% true. So I utilize that as like, this is a moment for me to learn, and this is a moment for me to. So it was it was a good balance to have. It was a good balance to have. Like I'm super focused on my physical health. I am like superly engaged. I preach it so much now where it's like my life, literally the only thing it revolves of is my family, my health, and my business. I do nothing else with my life. Like I am 100%. Like I don't drink with buddies. I don't even drink. I don't do anything else but that. Like I wake up. If I'm not working out, I'm taking care of our kid. If I'm not taking care of our kid, I'm working. Like it's a never ending cycle.
You see, and now that you have baby, we'll have more podcasts on like the new perspective of balance because the boys were older already. They kind of take care of themselves, right? So now
they're in their teens. Yeah.
So and now I think, like you said, with this blessing and the view towards life is a little bit different now because now you had a little bit of a shift, both with what happened with business, both with what happened, with having a new blessing in your family. But like, isn't it like nice? And it's weird because like when I do that, and then people come and tell me like, "Oh, you don't come around no more," and like you don't like, but like, dude, it's so nice to just focus on those 3 things: family, health, and business. Like, it's the most peaceful time. Like, and I just, I mean, I don't know if you get feedback like that, but it's like you don't come around, you don't want to drink, you don't want to.
I don't have too many friends. The people that I do associate myself with are individuals, either one that I'm working with or, people, I like, even when I go to the gym, like, I don't talk to anybody. I don't. And
headphones on and
I literally put my headphones on and I work out. Like I work out because that's all I have for the day for that moment is to exercise. I don't even touch my phone. I'll touch my phone to listen to music, but I won't scroll through Instagram, look through messages because, dude, I see people at the gym and they're like, I'm like, dude, like, time is money. Don't waste it. But, I can't control and tell people what to do because that's let them learn with their own experiences. But anyways, so even when I go to the gym, like my focus is just to work out. If I want to make a friend, I'll make a friend, but to be honest, I'm just there to work out. So yeah, I mean, I don't get that feedback mainly because like for the last year that's all I've been doing. For the last year that's constantly like what I drill. And to be honest, it's so like I wouldn't change it for a thing. It's fucking crazy. I always like every time I wake up, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, this is fucking great. Yeah. I get to have control of my life, in which a lot of people don't. A lot of people have to clock in, clock out, ask for days off, ask for this, ask for that. Like I get to take my kid to the doctor, I get to take my kids to the dentist. Like, I get to be there for performances. I get to, whatever the case is, whatever's happening, I get to be there. And like
coming up business, it's always going to be a roller coaster. You gain clients, lose clients, but at the end of the day, you work hard to build that, custom schedule for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you decide to work hard at nights or on the weekends
or in the mornings,
but you plan that around what you have to do with family, with the baby,
exactly.
with the teenagers, your wife. So you plan and you customize whether you have to be up 2, 3, 4 in the morning, but you're sleep in, you get up, however it is. But that's the beauty of
that's the reward.
Exactly,
that's the reward, and that's the reward that you get as a business owner. That's the reward you get as an entrepreneur. That's the reward you get as whatever you do. Whatever you're doing when you're your own, when you're in charge of your own day. And I think people have the misconception of like when I'm an entrepreneur. And, people automatically tie in the money, tie in the fame, tie in all that
the
status. But in reality, it's like you get freedom. You get the ability to control your life.
That's the asset.
That is way much more, it holds much more value than all the other bullshit that people try to bring to you. Yeah. There's tons of people online now. Like tons, like we've had a whole year now since the last time we've had talked about any of this shit. And if you guys know, we like to talk shit about people who will sit in front of a camera and tell you tons of bullshit. We're trying to be as honest as possible and as brutal as possible as we can because it's the reality. We were never taught that growing up. Our parents tend to put a fucking shade in front of our faces of what was actually the world, and then we go out into the world and we get our asses kicked.
Yeah.
Literally get our asses kicked.
Kicked around.
And like that's why we said part of this podcast is just being honest and for you guys to follow us in our journey and to be a part of the journey because it's like we're still growing. We're honestly still growing. Like we're not even like it's not even like sorry,
aside from everything that happened this past year, we're still doing good in revenue. We're still 24, 25 employees plus. We're still, we got a full office, a yard. So I'm very grateful through all the struggles, the obstacles, and the times I got kicked around in the face. At the end of the day, like I've grown so much as an individual, as a business owner. Definitely learned the law, but I still have it. I'm still chipping away. That's the goal, man. Keep chipping away. And you're bound to get there. I think most people at this point, it gets really mentally challenging where I feel like that's the point where people start to give up. And those are those stories you hear where like, it got really hard. And, I've had people tell me to my face.
Lost everything.
Go bankrupt. Yeah. Just go bankrupt. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, bro, I built me and my team, everybody, we
Yeah.
built this from the ground up. Like, what do you mean go bankrupt? Like, it's not like I carry this at this point in my blood, in my veins. Like, this is all I live for. I'll fight to the death of this, like whether I die from a stroke or I die from anxiety or whatever, shit, God forbid, right? But this shit's not even wood. Uh, fucking, um, no, like it's just persistent, man.
Yeah.
Like be relentless, and I think problems there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be, I mean, it's just, and I've taught, I've learned, you've taught me, and I've learned from you, like, to view things in a specific way where, like, I'm in rush hour, I'm like boom boom boom, and I'm like, fuck, like, what's going to happen? And you're like, bro, chill. Like, again, we talked about it in many podcasts before, but I'll say it again, like, just slow down, think it through, think before you speak, and the answers will come. And I've learned that, like, just today when we're recording, and we were going through the issue where I lost almost $20,000 worth of accounts in like a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta let go of guys, and I was really upset because I didn't want to let them go, and because in my brain, I was taught, like, by the day, like, give them
Fight
a
or
full
flight
day
mode. You were in
Yeah.
fight or flight mode in that moment.
And you're like, bro, just give them a day off here, a day off there. You don't have to let go of anybody. And that same day, we got to the yard. We had a meeting with everybody, and everybody took it so well. They were comprehensive. Hey, I understand. Like, those were big accounts that kept us strong, and But they're like, we'll get them back. We'll get them back. And just that support was like, oh shit. Like, I was over here fucking losing my shit because I care so much for my team. You know what I mean? Like, and you told me, oh, you got to be a little more selfish, and like, yes, but at the same time, like, I don't know why. Like, I have such a drive to, like, help people and to do more for people. And I want to see everybody win in my team,
Yeah.
but obviously I can't do that until the company starts to win itself more and more. We are winning.
We are winning, yeah. Even though he
but
was
more.
like, "Oh, we make some money." His company makes he's in the millions now. And as far as revenue, the company, he's not a millionaire. He's not. I'm not a millionaire either, but he's not a millionaire. There's some people out there who like to say they're millionaires and try to tell people they're millionaires, but they're actually not.
We should sell courses and become millionaires.
I mean, I guess that's one way you can do it. I mean, we've thought about that.
Let us know, guys, in the comments and stuff. We should start a course. Nah, that's
no. Honestly, too. Like, here's the thing, too. We're doing this podcast out of our own backs. We're not like trying to get some like compensation from people who are listening. Like, we're putting this out there into the world for free. We're trying to give information for free. And if there's sponsors out there who want to sponsor us, by all means, come on down. But at the end of the day, we're not going to charge people to come and listen to us talk because, again, from the upbringings that we come from, we had no knowledge, no experience, nothing, nobody to teach us, nobody, and we want you as the listeners to be like, hey, I saw this on this episode from those two idiots from Stay Shine and Stay Grind podcast, and now I'm going through this.
Just ask questions.
You can totally reach out and be like, hey, I'm going through this. Do you have any suggestions?
Remember this past year, how many people I told you reach out?
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I need some advice. Like, I give them my number.
Yeah.
And I talk to them, and people, I get it. People are embarrassed to call, or they don't want to take my time or whatever. But the few people that do, which is more than a handful, I try to help them with whatever I can. And I even tell them, hey, bro, I don't have it all figured out. I don't have all the answers, but I'll tell you what worked for me. And, people are like, bro, why do you do this? And I'm like, because I don't, I built something. Yes, I have built something. I always discredit myself, but I will give myself the credit. But we've built something. Because I remember back then when I was barely starting at 0 employees, I had my hat. I've always been a vision driver. Like, I've always seen my vision. And I had people laugh in my face. We're like, you're never going to do it. Oh, you're never going to build anything. Oh, you think because you got a license, you're going to do anything in life? Like, that doesn't mean shit. And like, people straight up laugh in my face. And I'm like, okay, well, motherfuckers can't do shit in 40 years. And in 7 years, we've built something that's been getting a lot of respect, and it's been making some noise, and I mean that humbly, because like sometimes you need to carry that chip on your shoulder, and just that needs to be your driving motivator to like prove yourself that you are capable of that. Not necessarily prove people wrong, but prove yourself right. That if you do have a vision, you do have the guts and the cojones to really chase after that and say, hey, you know what? I will accomplish what I'm saying.
Yeah. And also, like, not being afraid of failure.
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
biggest thing.
failure is probably the biggest thing that ends up driving a lot of people to quit. Failure is the thing that people are afraid of.
Hmm.
Another reason why people don't want to achieve certain things,
Well, they don't risk it.
or not willing to take risk.
Yeah.
Part of my failure was losing all these clients, and then long and behold, now we're here. I have 3 clients, and I make almost as much as what I was making with 6 clients. And what did I have to do? I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to
Hmm.
figure things out. I made relationships. I'm working with a restaurant that's really popular and regionally out here. I don't want to disclose that yet, but like, I had to build relationships. I had to do things. I had to put myself out there. And I
Hmm.
had to be in uncomfortable positions as well. Part of the failure is like being uncomfortable, being
Right.
being willing to be open and express what's actually happening and what actually happened. And yeah, like I said, now I'm in a position where I'm making almost the same amount that I'm making with 3 clients that I used to make with 6 clients.
And I think now that you brought that up, brings me to a point when I recently lost like almost $20,000 worth of, and they were all under one property management.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, because there was no complaints, there was really nothing. I mean, but when you said go back to the drawing board, that's exactly how I viewed it. Because we were, here we're like, well, what could have happened? Like they're fucked up, they're assholes. Why they do? But at the end of the day, what could I have done better?
Hmm.
What could we have provided more value? Like you always have to view it that way. Like you can't just look at it like, oh, the cheaper guy came in and took it. No.
Yeah.
If I look at, however, even if I didn't have complaints, but if we could have been that much better, if we were good, we could have been great. If we were great, we could have been phenomenal. But there was something that was missed that triggered them to letting us go. So I'm not gonna sit here and point the finger at them. I'm gonna look in the mirror and have that conversation and say, God damn, what could you do better?
Yeah.
What could you have done more for them to have kept the business with you? And I think, similar to what happened with you, going back to your drawing board, saying you have less clients but making almost as much or as much, that just is the defining factor of how much value means a lot to people. You
Yeah.
provide that much value for them, and they respect that, and they value that at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's also a situation part of like having the freedom to now where it's like, at the end of the year of 2023, I didn't even have time for anything. Like
Hmm.
it was just rolling with the punches, or even some cases I would avoid work, which brought again the whole thing to just fall.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a scenario where like, I think I was on the phone with you a few days ago where I'm like, dude, I try to get ahead of the curve, which is like hard, this week, for example, this week I couldn't get ahead of the curve. This
Hmm.
week I was on the curve the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
But next week,
Yeah.
guess what? We're gonna get ahead of the curve. We're gonna continue to go. I've had some meetings with other businesses in the last few weeks, and I've been hopeful that some of this stuff is going to work out. And, again, got to get ahead of the curve. Now I have to once again start to scale.
Yeah.
And I'm in a position now where I need to scale. I've realized that now. I've just, like I said, I just met with a couple of business owners that, are interested in the services that I provide. And I'm not going to be able to obtain everything by myself. So
Yeah.
I have to scale. And part of the scaling is I have a few people in mind, but I want to make sure they're the right people for
Hmm.
me, because I want to make sure that, one, they're providing quality instead of quantity, which again, when I scaled previously, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about
You just wanted to produce.
yeah, I just wanted to produce,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that how much of an effect that was going to have on business,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm in that position now. Fortunately, I can be in that position, and like I said, we're just gonna keep climbing, dude.
Yeah.
Gonna keep climbing, keep going, and just make this thing happen.
It's part of entrepreneurship. At the end of the day, it is a difficult road. It's hard. I don't see it being easy for whatever reason, but for sure, do not be afraid to fail. be stubborn, be ignorant to failure. You have to keep driving and pushing forward, because at the end of the day, you're never gonna know what's on the other side if you're always too scared to even peek through. So
Yeah.
just keep driving, keep pushing, guys. I think at the end of the day, we're back, we're here. We're gonna be talking about our experiences. Many more episodes to come. So
Yeah, we got a lot of shit to talk about. And I mean, this is just like this is just the first episode of us coming back. It almost feels like it's episode 1 all over again.
right,
We're literally just like starting from number 1. And before we had 2 cameras, we were switching cameras. And I didn't have this audio thing. I had it on the side over there, and it was a lot of work. And we're trying to simplify this, because we want to give the information without having to do so much extra work. Maybe at one point in the future we'll be able to have somebody back there helping us out, but right now this is all our own production that we're all doing, and we're trying to simplify it and get the word out there to everybody that's
our own time, our own dime, and we do it for you guys.
Yeah, and we're not doing this for money. We're not trying to get the podcast out there because it's like, oh, eventually we're gonna make some money from this podcast, and this is what's gonna happen, and this is where we're gonna go
make
with
some money in my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's literally what this is what it's about. We're doing this out of our own will and out of our own heart. And yeah, I mean, any closing remarks? Anything else you maybe want to touch base on, or
no? Just keep head high, guys. Long-term vision. Keep chipping away. And I think it does feel like episode 1, huh?
Yeah,
it feels like an actual episode. It didn't even feel like a welcome back. We just went straight to the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a wrap for this one, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode. And as always, stay shining, stay grinding.
Peace.